Okay, so picture this scene. It's January 2026. You walk into the theater, you've got your popcorn. You look up at the poster, you see the names. Matt Damon,
Hmm.
Ben Affleck. And the title is The Rip.
It feels like a reunion tour.
Exactly. You think you know exactly what you're about to see.
Oh, for sure. You're expecting the greatest hits, a heist, some action.
Right. You're thinking, okay, cool. It's a heist movie. There'll be car chases, probably some witty banter. Things go boom.
Yeah.
It looks like a standard action blockbuster.
Yep.
But we've got our hands on this incredible breakdown. It's titled Anatomy of a Trap. And let me just say, this is not that movie.
Not even close. I mean, it presents itself as a thriller, certainly. You've got the guns, the money, the standoff.
All the pieces are there.
But if you actually look at the source material we're analyzing today, The Rip is really a complex psychological study. It's described almost as a sociological experiment disguised as a cop movie.
A sociological experiment with automatic weapons. I kind of love that.
It fits. And this document, Anatomy of a Trap, it really peels back the layers. It covers everything from the production backstory, which is honestly just as intense as the movie itself,
I was going to say, that story alone is wild.
all the way to the real-life inspirations, and finally, this incredibly precise mathematical plot twist that just anchors the whole film.
And that twist, man, we are going to get there. But it's literal math. It's pure logic.
It is.
But before we even get to the numbers, we have to talk about the philosophy, because the source material points out this central theme, and it's right there on the protagonist's hand. A tattoo. AWTGG.
Are we the good guys?
That is the question. And it's not just some cool tagline. It's the engine of the entire story.
Right.
So our mission for this deep dive is to figure out the answer. We're going to move from the reality behind the camera, which breaks all the Hollywood rules, to this canary trap plot device, and then land on the moral philosophy of modern policing that the film is trying to deconstruct.
It is a journey into the gray zones, for sure.
So let's start with how this thing even got made. Because when you watch the movie, the vibe is, it's frantic.
Yeah.
It's raw.
Anxious. It feels anxious.
Yes. And it turns out that was by design.
It absolutely was. This film comes from Artists' Equity, which is the studio Affleck and Damon founded. And if you look at their mission statement, their whole philosophy is about, centering the creators and avoiding what we all call development hell.
Right, the Hollywood meat grinder.
Exactly. You know how it usually works? A script like this, it sits in a drawer for 5 years. It gets rewritten by 10 different people to make it safer.
Noted to death by executives worried about toy sales.
By the time it actually shoots, the soul of the movie is just gone. It's been sanitized.
You get to paint by numbers.
But this was different. The source notes that the writer and director, Joe Carnahan, he wrote the script in a sprint. 5 weeks.
5 weeks. From a blank page to a finished script.
That's insane. I mean, I took longer than that to pick out my couch.
And then once he pitched it to Affleck and Damon, it was greenlit in 48 hours. 48 hours. That is unheard of.
And that speed is so crucial to understanding the final product. The analysis points out that because it happens so fast, the film retains this kinetic, kind of nervous energy.
It feels unpolished, but in a good way.
Yes, it reminds you of those gritty 1970s classics like Serpico or Prince of the City.
Oh, totally. Those movies where everyone just looks sweaty and tired and like they're on the edge of a nervous breakdown.
Precisely. You can't manufacture that sense of urgency if you spend 2 years in pre-production. It feels like you're watching a live nerve because, in a way, the production was a live nerve. They didn't have time to second-guess themselves.
So the style is authentic. It feels real. But there's another layer to this reality thing that I found really moving. The tactics in the film. The way the cops talk, the way they move.
How they clear a room.
Yeah. And the sources say that all comes down to one guy, Chris Cassiano.
Chris Cassiano is the emotional DNA of this whole project. He's a veteran of the Miami-Dade police, ran a tactical narcotics unit. He was the technical consultant. So on the surface, yeah, he's there to teach Damon how to hold a Glock properly.
But it goes so much deeper than just the technical stuff.
Much deeper. The sources mention that in 2021, Cassiano tragically lost his son, Jake, to cancer.
Yeah, this part. This was a gut punch to read.
And instead of shying away from that tragedy, they wrote it directly into the film. Matt Damon's character, Dane Dumars, isn't just a generic grumpy cop.
Right.
He's a father mourning a son named Jake. The film is actually dedicated to Jake Cassiano.
That just changes everything about how you see Damon's character, because we've seen the burnt-out cop trope a million times. The guy who drinks too much hates authority.
But this feels different. It transforms Dumars. He isn't driven by ambition. He's not even really driven by justice in the traditional sense. He's driven by nihilism. He has already lost the most important thing in his world,
You have nothing left to lose.
which makes him almost a figure of Shakespearean tragedy. He's so dangerous because he doesn't care about consequences anymore. He's incredibly focused, but not on saving his career. He's looking for an ending.
It's grief as a weapon.
Yeah.
Now, we'll get to how he uses that weapon in a bit, but
Yeah.
first, the heist itself. Because the setup finding millions of dollars hidden in the walls of a regular house, it sounds like pure Hollywood fiction.
Like a lottery ticket fantasy?
Totally. But again, reality beats fiction here. The Anatomy of a Trap breakdown cites a specific raid from June 2016 in Miami Lakes. This actually happened. Walk us through that. This was a marijuana trafficker.
Yeah, a guy named Luis Hernandez Gonzalez. On the outside, just a normal house in the suburbs, nice lawn, no Ferraris in the driveway.
Blending in.
But inside, police found a trap door to a secret attic room. And inside that room, $24 million.
$24 million.
And it wasn't stacked in some high-tech vault. It was stuffed into orange Home Depot buckets.
That is such a specific, weird visual.
Yeah.
Just buckets of cash. It's so mundane, like they were doing a renovation, but instead of drywall, it's $24 million.
It was the largest cash seizure in the department's history. But here's the aha moment for the movie, the little detail that makes the whole plot work.
Okay.
In the real raid, because there was so much cash buckets of it, police procedure required them to secure the chain of custody immediately.
Meaning they couldn't just, throw the buckets in a van and count it back at the station?
No, they had to count it on site to ensure not a single dollar went missing between the house and the evidence locker.
So they're just stuck there.
In the real event, they had to stay in that house for over 24 hours, hand counting $24 million.
And that is the pressure cooker.
Exactly. The movie takes that procedural rule and it weaponizes it. The characters find the money, $20 million in the film, but they can't leave. They are forced into stasis in a hostile environment. They're stuck in the house with the money, with the body of dead captain, and with the growing suspicion that one of them is a traitor.
It creates this intense claustrophobia. They're trapped in a box with 20 million reasons to kill each other.
Which brings us to the setup of the film itself. Act 1. The unit's moral center, Captain Jackie Velez, is murdered. The team is reeling.
Right.
Damon's character, Dumars, and Affleck's character, J.D. Byrne, they lead the team to this house on a tip. They find the money, and then Dumars starts acting weird.
Weird is putting it mildly.
Yeah.
He starts acting corrupt.
Right.
I mean, watching it, you really think he's losing it. He confiscates his team's phones. He refuses to call for backup. He's sweating. He's shouting. To his team and to us, the audience, it looks like he is completely snapped.
Like the grief and the greed have just broken him.
Yeah.
And this is where the source material points out the brilliance of the writing. It's a total misdirection. We're led to believe Dumars is the villain of his own story. But if you look closely, he's applying Sun Tzu.
The art of war.
Specifically the principle, feign weakness to make the enemy arrogant.
Okay, let's unpack that. How does acting like a lunatic help him catch a traitor?
Well, Dumars knows there's a leak in his unit. He knows someone set up Captain Velez, but he doesn't know who.
Right.
So if he acts like a good guy, if he follows procedure, calls internal affairs, locks everything down, the traitor will just clam up. They'll hide.
So you have to play a role.
He mimics a corrupt cop.
Yeah.
He acts erratic and greedy because he knows that a traitor is much more likely to reveal themselves to a fellow crook than to a saint. He's lowering their guard.
He's creating a safe space for their corruption to show itself.
Exactly. He wants the traitor to look at him and think, oh, thank God Dumars wants to steal the money too. We're on the same page.
That is incredibly risky.
It's almost suicidal. But remember, Dumars is a nihilist. He doesn't care about the risk. He just wants the truth.
And all the while, as this psychological game is playing out, we have that tattoo just staring us in the face. AWTGG.
Are we the good guys?
The source material makes a really interesting point here about the economics. It's not just abstract morality, it's about the cold, hard numbers.
It's a harsh clash of realities. You have these officers, highly trained, dealing with extreme danger every single day. They're making, maybe $80,000 a year. They have mortgages, debt, sick kids.
And then they're standing next to a table with $20 million in cash.
It's more money than they'd earn in 10 lifetimes, and it's right there. The film argues that good isn't a static state. You aren't a good guy just because you wear a badge.
It's not some permanent label you get at graduation.
No, good is an active choice you have to make over and over again. And it's a lot harder to make that choice when the economic incentive to be bad is literally staring you in the face.
So true.
Integrity is a luxury item in this world.
That's a powerful line. Integrity is a luxury. So Dumars is playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He's acting crazy to draw out the rat, which leads us to what I think is the absolute highlight of this breakdown.
The mechanism of the trap itself.
The canary trap. I love this part. I've heard of this in spy novels. Sometimes they call it a barium meal test.
Correct. It's a classic counter-espionage technique. The concept is simple. You suspect a leak, but you don't know who it is. So you give different pieces of false information to different suspects.
You mark the data.
Then you just wait to see which specific piece of false information leaks back to the enemy. It's like feeding someone a radioactive isotope and then tracing where it glows.
Okay, so in the RIP, Dumars uses the money count as the data set. There are 4 other people in that room. JD, Numa, Lolo, and the new guy, Mike Rowe.
And he separates them. He tells each of them a different total for how much money they found. This is where the math comes in. It's so elegant.
So he pulls JD aside, his best friend, and tells him the total is $300,000.
Okay, so JD thinks the pot is $300K.
He tells Numa it's $250,000. He tells Lolo it's $75,000.
And Mike Rowe.
He tells Mike Rowe the total is $150,000.
So everyone has a unique number, a unique data point implanted in their head.
Exactly. And then Dumars just waits. The trigger comes when the bad guys, the cartel and the corrupt DEA agent outside, call the burner phone to negotiate.
They want their money back. And what do they say?
They say, no one needs to die for $150,000. The math doesn't lie. Because the input, what Dumars told Mike Rowe, matches the output from the enemy. The leak is mathematically proven to be Mike Rowe.
No one else knew that number. It is impossible for it to be anyone else.
It's so simple, but so devastatingly effective.
And what's fascinating here is what the source says about Mike Rowe's character. We tend to think of movie villains as, these evil geniuses, but Mike Rowe represents the banality of evil. He is not a mastermind.
No, he's kind of just a guy.
He's a bureaucrat. He made a calculated decision for profit. He thought he was smarter than everyone else, but his arrogance blinded him. He thought he was in a heist movie where he could just grab the bag and run.
He didn't realize he was in a math problem.
Exactly. Dumars was solving an equation, and Mike Rowe is just a variable.
So Dumars knows, but he doesn't reveal it right away. He waits until the pressure is at its absolute peak. Segment 4, the Bearcat Confessional.
The climax. And notice the setting. They aren't in some big open warehouse. They move from the house into the Bearcat, the armored police vehicle.
Oh, those things are tiny inside.
The source describes this scene as claustrophobic hell. It's dark, it's lit only by these red tactical lights. Everyone is literally knees touching knees.
It's uncomfortably intimate.
Uncomfortably so. And that is where Dumars drops the hammer. He asks Mike Rowe to repeat the number he was told.
How much did I say was in the house, Mike?
Mike says $150,000. He thinks he's just keeping the story straight. Then Dumars looks over at JD and says, and I told you $300,000.
The look on their faces in that moment. The realization.
And then JD produces the smoking gun. A burner phone he'd swiped off Mike Rowe earlier. It confirms the communication.
And then it all breaks loose.
It's not a choreographed fight scene. The source describes it as a brutal, ugly struggle in a confined space. And that's so important symbolically. The real danger wasn't the cartel outside. The danger was the rot inside the unit.
It's the purge. Dumars is burning it all down just to get to the truth.
He's using his grief, that closure he's chasing, to purge the unit. He's willing to destroy his own reputation to look like the bad guy, just to restore some semblance of integrity.
But here's where it gets really, ironic. The ending, the final twist.
Yeah.
Because people died for this money. Mike Rowe, the corrupt agent Nix. They ruined their lives, ended their lives, for these bags of cash.
Except the bags didn't contain any money.
Wait, remind me. I know I read this, but it still shocks me.
The civilian informant, Desi, the young woman who lived in the house, she had already swapped all the cash before the police even started the count.
So, what was in the buckets?
The bags were full of old phone books.
Phone books.
Paper waste.
That is it's dark comedy at its absolute finest.
It completely underscores the futility of Mike Rowe's corruption. He sold his soul for phone books.
So Desi gets away with the actual money.
She ends up with a cut. Yeah, she played them all. But the real takeaway, according to our source, is about Dumars. He didn't end up with the money. He didn't get a promotion. He paid with his reputation to restore integrity. He answered the question on his hand.
Are we the good guys?
And the answer the film seems to give is only if you fight like hell for it.
That is a powerful place to land. It really does sound like so much more than just a blockbuster. It's a tragedy with explosion.
Moral tragedy, yeah.
So let's recap. We've peeled back the layers. We've looked at the production, that sprint that gave it the raw energy. We've looked at the real-life raid with the Home Depot buckets. We broke down the math of the canary trap and the tragic irony of that ending.
Mm-hmm.
But before we sign off, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final thought to mull over.
This raises a pretty important question for all of us, not just cops.
Exactly. The film presents a world where integrity is a luxury,
Hmm.
where corruption is rationalized by economic anxiety. I'm underpaid, so I deserve a cut. We see that in Mike Rowe. But Dumars rejects that.
At a great personal cost.
Right. So the provocative thought is this. In a system where being good often means you lose money, you lose status, you lose comfort, does the label good guy even exist as a permanent state anymore?
Right. Or is good guy just a temporary role that you have to audition for and fight to maintain every single day of your life?
Was it something you are or something you do?
Yeah,
And are you willing to pay the price of admission?
that's the question.
Think about that the next time you're faced with a choice that tests your own good guy status. Thanks for diving deep with us today on The Rip. We'll catch you on the next one.